In Christopher Nolan's grim version of Batman, Chicago becomes Gotham City. As someone who shares Zhehan's appreciation for this film, a Chicago-based haijua visited several of the filming locations and graciously provided us with these photos. The bank heist at the beginning of the film was shot around the junction of Franklin and Van Buren Streets. Other Chicago landmarks shown in the film include the Old Chicago Main Post Office, the Wyndham Grand Chicago Riverfront, the St. Charles Airline Bridge, the Richard J. Daley Center, the Chicago Theater, Twin Anchors Restaurant and Tavern, Trump International Hotel and Tower, and Navy Pier. Following the publication of this piece, the Dark Knight has become a code between Zhehan and his supporters, symbolizing faith, trust, and steadfast commitment. For now and forever, we shall be each other's heroes on this thorny journey. Let love be our guide, and creation be our weapon. In the darkness, there are seeds that slowly fall and decay, and others that quietly take root and blossom.
I don't know why, but Batman, The Dark Knight was always recommended on the TV screen these days, so I rewatched the film over the past 2 days. The first time I watched it, I missed a lot of details because I was practicing piano at the same time. The second time, I got caught up in its intense superhero action scenes. The third time, I began to understand why this film has become a classic in the superhero series. It is not just a superhero action film, but also an exploration of the complexity of humanity. Of course, the success of a film depends on the joint efforts of its director, screenwriter, cinematographer, and actors. The actor who played Batman, Christian Bale, lost 57 pounds for his previous film, The Mechanic, and gained 72 pounds for Batman. The other main character, Heath Ledger, who played the Joker in the film, died at the age of 28. It is said that Heath Ledger was so immersed in his performance that it took him a long time to recover from each one, and when he was in Batman: The Dark Knight, he locked himself in a hotel room for a long time in order to understand the Joker's state of mind, practicing licking his lips, stroking his hair, speaking in tongues, etc., and finally creating a Joker that could not be surpassed. There's no getting beyond the ugly. But Heath Ledger was overwhelmed by the stress brought by the character that he took his own life in overdose. What a shame. One of my mentors said that acting is the most special profession in the world. The actor has to use his emotions, his body, and even his hair to serve the roles he plays. This is the reason why some of the best actors, especially the ones who take on Stanislavski's method, find it difficult to get out of the characters, or even struggle with psychological problems. I think that's why some actors, at some point, will turn to directing. Being deeply immersed in a character not only presents physical challenges, but also risks one being swallowed by the fate of the character. It's extremely difficult to get away from the painful feeling that comes from playing a character, because you used your life to bring it from imagination to reality. It is through the actor's performance the audience gets to touch the character and be moved by him. Heath Ledger's excellent interpretation gave the Joker an aura that on a par with the superhero. To honor him, let's look at the whole movie from the viewpoint of the Joker. When we take this angle to cut into the story, You will find out that this is a growing up story of a supervillain, from a fledgling star of crime to the king of crime in Gotham City. In the movie, the first thing the Joker did was to infiltrate the mob and create conflict, causing them to fall apart so as to develop his own power. By killing a counterfeit Batman, he warned people that as long as the real Batman had not presented his true identity, one person would die for him every day. The Joker is obviously a master of psychological manipulation. He knows very well that to destroy a person, especially an embodiment of justice like Batman, a physical death will only allow him to live eternally in people's hearts and be admired by millions to come. Only by pulling Batman into the abyss of sin and letting him live with the guilt on his back is the true death of this symbol of justice possible. Time and again, he tried to provoke Batman, waiting and enjoying the moment when he crossed the line of ethics and commit the sin of killing. So the people of good will turn on him out of fear, as if the death of every cop was caused by Batman's unwillingness to reveal his true identity. In this way, Joker pulled Batman into the vortex of justice. Everyone can point a finger at him under the banner of justice, accusing him for not standing out. Are you really fighting for justice? If you are fighting for justice, you must now stand up and take off your mask. The Joker is smart enough to know that the first step in defeating an opponent is to understand him. Only by knowing who Batman is can he strike precisely at his soft spot. In the charity dinner, the Joker discovered Batman's weakness, although his identity had not been fully revealed. Is Joker indeed a lunatic? Obviously he is, but his mind is also unusually lucid, which does not align with the stereotypical impression of a nutcase. He thinks clearly, plans carefully, and works logically. I once read a book titled Genius on the Left, Lunatic on the Right, which recorded interviews with various psychiatric patients. The author found that all psychiatric patients are highly logical, and the mental worlds they built around their own logics are invincible. Joker is such a case. He plays God in his world, everyone is his pawn, and must accept his moral judgment. Batman asked him, "Why do you want to kill me?" The Joker laughed. "I don't want to kill you. What would I do without you?" It is evident that he knows clearly no crime is highlighted without justice, and no justice is manifested without crime. They are two sides of a coin that must exist simultaneously. "You complete me," says the Joker. Whether facing Batman, the Sheriff, or Harvey, the Joker is unfailingly preaching his worldview and values, which is not only convincing for himself, but also to brainwash those who are not strong-willed. "Good evening, Commissioner," the Joker greeted the officer warmly. The agent said, "Harvey Dent didn't make it home." "Of course he didn't." "What have you done with him?" "Me? I was locked up here, and it was your men who sent him back." Was it one of your men?" The Joker, although he was locked up, had been the one on top of this exchange. Not only does he ridicule the agent and his men, but also destroys the trust between them. "Does it depress you, Commissioner, to just know how alone you really are?" The Joker's statement always attempts to conjure the dark power of sensitivity and suspicion, loneliness and fear in a human's heart. Does it make you feel responsible for Harvey Dent's death? He tries to abduct the agent with justice, just like he tries to use the deaths of Gotham's citizens to abduct Batman. The agent asks, "Where is he?" "What time is it?" Joker throws the question back. Depending on the time, he may be in one spot or several. Such a clever answer, much creepier than directly saying at a certain time he will be blown to pieces. The first half of the film describes the Joker's life experience and his childhood memories. Where does the smiley scar on his face come from? And why does the phrase, "Why so serious?" imprint so deeply on his mind? In the film, we see the Joker is licking the corners of his mouth constantly. I guess that's the habit he develops after his father hurts him. When the wound heals, the skin around will be itchy, and thus he has developed the habit of licking the corner of his mouth. This is my understanding of the details in the Joker's behavior. It is evident that the actor, when interpreting this role, uses his own imagination to enrich and complete every action. Therefore, the audience finds such actions natural and integral to the character. The Austrian psychologist Adler said, "Some people use childhood to heal their whole life. Some people use their whole life to heal their childhood." Let me share a little story from my life with you. When I returned to the north earlier this month, I saw that the branches of the bird of paradise in my room were wilting, and the branches were about to break, so I rushed to straighten it up and replenish the water. It seems to be quite easy to keep this plant. As long as there is water and sunlight, it will grow well. I also put the humidifier under the leaves and let it enjoy the sea breeze, like in Hawaii. Speaking of humidifiers, I'm pissed. Last night, I was so frustrated with the newly arrived foot bath and humidifier. While operating the humidifier, it leaked. While filling the foot bath, it overflew. Hastily turning off the faucet, I used a basin to scoop out the excess water, ending up making water everywhere in the kitchen and living room. The next day, the humidifier still leaks when I try to add water. I have been emotionally unstable these days, and the humidifier's failure to work made me want to give it some kicks. I was going to lift it up and drop it. However, as soon as it was lifted, it started to work magically. So when you are furious, use a bit of patience. Maybe it only takes that itty-bitty patience to save a humidifier's life.